From South Carolina Public Radio, this is Who, What, When, an hour of history, games, and trivia. I'm Daniel Thompson.
And I'm Brandon Gray. Welcome to the show, everyone. We're jumping into our DeLorean today and traveling back to the 1980s with games all about the decade.
Great Scott, Brand. Coming up this hour, Walter Edgar will try to sell you on some actual products that didn't make it out of the 80s. We'll look at 3 forgotten TV shows from the era, 2 of which are real, the other is fake. Will you be able to guess which one we made up?
If you'd like a chance to play these games with us, all you got to do is give us a call or a text even to 803-470-6347. Again, that's 803-470-6347. You can also send an email to us, whowhatwhen@scpublicradio.org. You might get a shot at the weekly title of Who What When Champion of the Week and get a very exclusive trophy. You know the one I'm talking about, a Who What When fanny pack.
Those sweet fanny packs. We're talking today, Brand, about the 1980s, a really interesting time in history, especially American history. This decade was dominated politically by the presidency of Ronald Reagan and ultimately culminated with the end of the Cold War with the Soviet Union right around 1990-91. The so-called yuppies, young urban professionals, became a thing. The first space shuttle flight happened in the 80s. Charity songs like We Are the World were popular. You had a ton of advancements in digital technology that touched everything from video games to pop music. There's just so much to discuss from these years. And Bran, I was born in the 80s. I'm an 80s kid. You were born in the 90s.
Yep.
You didn't live through any of this that we're covering today. So what's wild about the 80s is that you still experienced a lot of it after the fact.
That's right, Dano. I am a 90s kid, but I have a real affinity for the 80s. I think I was maybe born in the wrong decade there.
Yeah.
I love a lot of the movies, the TV shows, the music, all the pop culture, all that history stuff you just talked about, could take or leave it. But the pop culture stuff, it really speaks to me, and I feel like a lot of the pop culture specifically has lived well beyond its time. I still feel like sometimes, even with music today, the sounds of the 80s are back in full force.
Yeah, my kids enjoy movies from the 80s now. I could never in the 80s enjoy a movie from the 1920s as a child. So like it's a very different world. Here are some things 40 years later that we've got shows like Stranger Things that is basically just a nostalgia bomb from the 80s. There are sequels to movies like Ghostbusters, Indiana Jones, still coming out here in the 2020s. You know what I don't think anyone ever gets right about the 80s? Just how brown everything was. Brown living rooms, kitchens, bathrooms, wood paneling. Suburbia was just bland. It wasn't neon popping like you are today.
Well, that's why I'm trying to keep it colorful today. Lights, airy, colorful.
This is like what people think of the 80s, not what actually happened in the 80s.
That is true.
I'm loving this, Bran. I'm loving the trip down memory lane. I want to talk more about 80s pop culture, but I think it would be even better with a couple of callers.
I agree.
And we've got a couple on the line. Caller number 1, what's your name? Where are you from?
Hey, everybody. I'm Michael, and I'm from Greenville, South Carolina.
From, that Greenville, South Carolina. That's
amazing.
where we live, Bran.
I love that. I love to hear it.
Michael, I don't know you, but I mean, welcome to the show.
Maybe we bumped into each other before.
Bumped into each other at the Home Depot.
Michael, how are you feeling about 80s trivia? Do you think that's going to be a sweet spot for you?
I'm feeling pretty good, and with the fanny pack hanging out there, man.
And you know what's wild is that we didn't even say it out loud.
So Michael
yet.
clearly is a fan of the show.
The fanny pack. Listen, you this week, the one you've stitched this week is just unbelievable.
Some weeks it feels like I was it's nothing special. This week is inspired, and I can't wait for one of these 2 contestants to get it. So, Michael, I appreciate the shout out. I did work very hard on this one. So, hopefully it ends up in your hands. Or contestant number 2. Contestant number 2, what's your name and where are you from?
Well, hello. My name is Brittany, and I am calling in from Toronto, Canada.
Wow.
I always say we're international, but I never quite know it. So it's good to know that
we have listeners all the way up in the Great White North.
The nice thing about the podcast version of the show, you can listen on NPR One or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can listen anywhere around the world.
That's right.
So that's amazing.
Did they have the 80s in Canada, Brittany?
That's a good question.
I was born after the fact, but I'm pretty sure we had it here.
Yeah, you did have it here. Was it like the 80s were the 90s in Canada or something? Like
I've always assumed Canada's about 10 years behind.
It's an exchange rate, like the dollar, right?
Yeah, no, I think the 90s had some 80s in them. We're always a little late.
That's right.
Always a little slow to our big brother.
And we love that about you.
Fair enough.
It's cute.
Fair enough.
You guys
it's
are
wonderful.
Cute down
Canadians
there,
are
up there.
always so nice. So nice. And so we'll be keeping track of points here. Now, we will have to do an exchange rate on Brittany's answers. She's going to get 1 point.
We'll handle that math, though.
She's going to get
worry.
a 1.25 points for every 1 point Michael's
right.
going to get. Okay. We'll figure it out on the back end, but don't worry about it. Let's get to our first game. It's called Call Me 80's.
Okay.
That's what it's called.
Call Me 80's.
Yeah, you nailed it, from a song not from the 80s. I thought that was clever.
Good on you.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to announce a category, and then I'm going to give you 3 things from that category. It could be a person, place, thing, event, fad, whatever it is. Who, what, or when, if you will.
I will, in fact.
And our contestants have to guess which one of those things happened during the 80s. This could
Okay.
be as serious as history. It could be as silly as TV, fashion, sports, whatever.
I love
it's a
this.
full spectrum.
And so you're going to give our contestants 3 possibilities, and only one of them
Is from the 80s.
From the 80s.
That's
I
exactly
love
right.
this, Stan.
All right, Michael, you're up first here on Call Me 80s. Are you ready for your first question?
I am ready, and I've got my jeans rolled down at the bottom and my Sebago shoes on.
I love it.
Wonderful. Thank
Man.
you, Michael.
Brittany, I don't know if you stand a chance.
Michael's very serious.
Here we go. The first category is the Cold War.
Let's go.
Cold War. Woo! Starting out of the gate strong. Michael, which of these 3 things that happened during the Cold War happened during the 80s? A, the end of the Soviet Union. B, Reagan labeling the Soviet Union the evil empire. Or C, the Camp David Accords.
That is going to be B, Reagan labeling the Soviet Union the evil empire.
He didn't
He
even
doesn't
flinch.
need to talk it out. He doesn't need any help at all. He's correct. That is right. He and Margaret Thatcher start to team up, and Star Wars is a popular venture in the 1980s, if you can imagine. And so demonizing the Soviet Union through the name the evil empire did gain traction to help him build up spending to fight the Soviets. That is correct, Michael.
Hey, Britt, you would have gotten that one?
Yeah, that's a hard no.
It's all right. The good news is, Britt, your question isn't about the Cold War. Your question's about
Okay.
TV game show start dates.
Oh,
So all 3 of these,
Excellent news.
yeah, all 3 of these
She's pumped.
TV game shows that may or may not have aired in Canada, one of them didn't start until the 1980s. Here are your 3 options. A, Jeopardy, B, Wheel of Fortune, or C, $100,000 Pyramid.
okay. I'm going to be really honest with you. I don't know what that last one is, but based on that and the snappy squares, I'm going to say Jeopardy.
She's going to say Jeopardy based upon the snappy squares.
That's as good a reason as any, I think.
It is an 80s. It feels like an
Yeah.
80s game to me as
Yeah.
someone born in
Yeah,
1983. Unfortunately, she's incorrect here. That was in the 1960s, if you can believe
Wow.
it. Michael, do you know if it's Wheel of Fortune or 100,000 Pyramid?
Ooh, I think it's Wheel of Fortune.
It's actually $100,000 Pyramid.
Oh, my goodness.
Wheel of Fortune 1976. Very close. So, Brittany, you didn't get it right, but Michael didn't know it either, so that's going to make you feel a little
You
bit
got to
better,
feel
right?
a little bit good
That's
about
right.
that.
Yeah.
It does. I also would like to just say that if anybody has copies of this $100,000 pyramid, is
That's
that
right.
what it's called? I'd like to see it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
ship it up. Yeah, I do think there's a new version of
They've
it out. I
remade
think
it.
like Strahan hosts it or something
Yeah,
like
pyramid,
that.
that's right.
But it's $1 million pyramid now for inflation and whatnot. So, but yes.
Yeah, and as Canadians, you guys understand the
Yeah.
exchange rate there is. Michael, the board is back to you, and I'm thrilled that you get this question. All of these are events from the song "We Didn't Start the Fire" by Billy
Oh
Joel.
boy.
Okay.
Only one of them is from the 1980s. Is it A, Cola Wars, B, Liston Beats Patterson, or C, British Beatlemania?
Oh, my. I would hope it's British Beatlemania.
British Beatlemania is your answer?
Yes.
That is incorrect.
Wow.
Oh, no.
British Beatlemania is from earlier.
Oh, I
It's the
see.
60s. We're looking
Yes.
for Cola Wars, Pepsi versus Coke.
That happened in the 80s. Got it. That's
Yes.
tough. That's
a tough one.
Michael.
That's a tough one. He's still got the lead, but Britt has the board. Brittany, your next question in Call Me 80s. Which of these happened in the 80s? And these are TV stations.
Okay.
TV stations that came into existence. Is it A, the WB network, B, MTV, or C, TBS?
Oh, man. Okay. I feel like WB is too young.
Okay.
I don't know why. I just feel it in my gut.
Okay.
Gosh, there's something about MTV to me that feels like it would be MTV. We're going off an aesthetic, which wasn't wise last time, but I'm going to go with my gut. MTV.
Not sure how snappy the boxes were on MTV, but Brittany is correct.
Wow, you love to see it.
She's on the board and she's tied the game.
Sometimes you play because you know, sometimes you play because you vibe. And that was a vibe guess 100%, and it played into her favor. We got a tie game,
We got a tie game. I want my MTV. We got a tie game, and the board's back to Michael. Michael, are you ready for your next question here on Call Me 80s?
I'm hoping to redeem myself now. I'm
All right.
a little nervous.
Here we go.
Do it.
These are Best Picture winners.
Ooh.
Best Picture winners. A, The Godfather Part 2. B, Driving Miss Daisy. Or C, The English Patient.
Dan, is it safe to assume that all three of these did win
Yes.
Best Picture?
All three of these are
but one
Best
of
Picture
them
winners.
won in the 80s.
One of them
Okay.
won in the 80s. Yes.
Michael, what do you think?
Ooh, just a guess. I'm thinking it's Godfather 2.
Godfather 2 is incorrect.
Oh, no.
Incorrect. The Godfather Part 2 is in the 70s.
Wow.
1974. We're looking for Driving Miss Daisy is what we're looking for. Morgan Freeman vehicle.
Yikes.
That's exactly
All
right.
right.
Literally a vehicle, so
The
well
game
done.
is still tied. Brittany, a chance to take the lead. Your category is rock albums. Rock albums. Which of these rock albums came out in the 1980s? Is it A, Joshua Tree by U2, B, Nevermind by Nirvana, or C, Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd?
Oh, gosh. Okay, I don't think it's Dark Side of the Moon.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Joshua Tree.
She's going to go with Joshua Tree, and she is correct.
Oh, my goodness.
Brittany from Toronto takes the lead. Joshua Tree, U2, that's right. Nevermind Nirvana, 91. That's when the
91.
bright colors.
That's right. Nirvana, I think, is single-handedly responsible for getting rid of bright colors.
That's
right.
exactly right.
It was the flannel for me.
It's
It
the
was
flannel. Yeah.
that I was like, that's too much of my time.
Yeah,
That's right.
That's exactly
That's
right.
right. Little Brittany up there with the flannel.
That's right.
Just walking around.
Yeah.
Here we are now.
Here we go. Call me.
Baby
She
Brittany.
was not even born yet. No, she was
She was 1 year old. That's
My
right.
bad.
First words.
Excuse me. First words were entertain us.
That's right.
exactly right. Brittany's got 2. Michael's got 1. We're playing a game called Call Me 80s. Michael, a chance to tie it back up. Your category is tech inventions. Which of these inventions came from the 1980s? Is it A, personal computers, B, the VCR, or C, Java computer programming?
Wow.
Ooh, that's brutal. Let me think about this. I'm going to say Java.
He's going to say Java. He's going to be incorrect.
Michael.
Gen
Oh.
Head is being ripped from me.
That was Gen X is not pleased. They're not pleased, and they will show you with a strongly worded letter.
Written on their personal computers,
That's right.
I believe.
VCR from the 50s or 60s, I believe.
Yeah.
Java in the 90s.
90s, yeah.
We're looking for the PC. The PC. Computer invented before them, but the personal computer to take home, that's the 1980s. Michael, dude,
right,
you're getting
all right.
Adele. Here we go. Brittany, a chance to make that lead bigger. Call Me 80s here on Who What Wins South Carolina Public Radio. We're talking about video game systems. Video game systems. Is it A, the Atari 2600, B, the Nintendo 64, or C, the Game Boy?
This is tough, Dan.
Okay.
All three of these feel 80s
Yeah,
to me.
all 3 of these are all in that window. Yes.
So I'm going to go ahead and acknowledge that I've never heard of the Atari.
Okay. Fair.
I did have a Nintendo 64 when I was a petite baby. And Game Boy, I remember being like all the rage of all the cool kids that didn't talk to me in elementary school. But I feel like they were more advanced. I'm going to go with an unconfident Game Boy.
An unconfident Game Boy
Saw
is a
them live.
confident correct answer.
Wow.
Oh my
wow.
gosh, really?
Yeah. This was a tricky one, Bran.
Yeah.
The Atari 2600 came out in the late 70s.
Yeah.
The Game Boy was released in April of 1989.
Wow.
Barely made
Wow.
it.
And Nintendo 64
was
early
96.
90s.
96.
Oh, mid-60s.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
mid-90s.
That was after mid-60s. That's right.
Mid-64. I think it was 64.
Michael, the weight of Gen X hangs in the balance. It's time to get back on track. I do feel like this question does favor you. This is fashion fads of the 1980s.
All right.
Oh, boy.
All right, Michael.
A, bell bottoms, B, parachute pants, or C, cargo pants.
I can confidently say parachute pants. Probably still have some in the closet.
Yeah, you do.
Hey, you go get those in between
Yeah,
the
you
next
do.
question. I think that'll help you out. But yeah, you got it, buddy.
Million zippers on those bad boys. Parachute pants is correct.
Amazing.
Awesome.
That's right. Michael, not done yet. It's 3-2. Britt, you got the board. We're playing Call Me 80s. It's Who, What, When. It's South Carolina Public Radio. A surprising lead for our 90s baby, Brittany here from Toronto. She's got a chance to widen that lead. Are you ready?
I think so.
Okay, these are slang comebacks.
Wow.
This is what the kids would say in the 80s to tell you to shut up. A, as if. B, dream on. Or C, eat my shorts.
I wanted to be eat my shorts so bad. I'm going to say eat my shorts. I have no clue.
She's going to
I just
say
want it to be that.
eat my shorts, the pride of Bart Simpson, and it is correct.
How about that? Eat
Yeah.
my shorts. Brittany's
Yeah.
so sweet. She didn't even know that it was a
That's
real
right.
thing. She's so sweet and Canadian.
Google called Eat My Shorts the ultimate slang comeback of the 1980s. Eat My Shorts.
Did Dream On derive
Dream
from the
On
70s?
is the 70s.
Yes, and
after
As If in the
Aerosmith.
90s. Yeah.
And then 90s As If. That
Yeah.
is exactly right. From Clueless. That's exactly right. Brittany's
Wow.
back on board. I love that our producer takes offense to this next question. Michael, Super Bowl champions.
Okay.
Only one of these three teams won a Super Bowl in the 1980s.
Ooh, okay.
A, the 49ers. B, the Dolphins. C, the Eagles.
All right. So, as a Joe Montana fan, I can say with confidence the 49ers.
The 49ers won several Super Bowls in the
There
1980s.
you go.
Michael is correct. Shout out to my terrible Miami Dolphins and AT's at the
Producer
time
AT.
underwhelmingly bad Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
Shout out.
The-
Producer AT, at least Dan threw the Dolphins in
I
there.
did.
It
I
was,
did.
It was a double
I
dagger.
saw it and I was like, I know a way to make this question work. It's if we throw both of those
There
in
you
there. And so we did. Brittany,
AT's day has been ruined, though.
the Dolphins and the Eagles are the teams that play in the Ace Ventura Super Bowl. So that means, at least the Eagles have won one. The Dolphins have won one since 72. So, all right, now we're on a full sports show, which is fun. Britt, you have a 1-point lead. This is the last question of Call Me 80s.
Can I just say I'm so happy that you're using Call Me 80s because Call Me Maybe is by a Canadian singer-songwriter.
Carly Rae
I was just
Jepsen.
like, on behalf of all of us
That's right.
Canadians, to say
And
thank you.
I'd love
We
to
knew
tell
you
you
were
we
coming.
knew
Yeah, we
that
did the-
when
we
I
did our
wrote this.
research.
I'm going to stick with that. All right, your category is new chain restaurants. So these are chain restaurants that are
Okay.
started, which might be tough in Canada especially. These chain restaurants started in the 80s. One of them did.
Okay.
A, Chili's. B, Applebee's. C, McDonald's.
Okay, I'm going to immediately get rid of McDonald's because I feel like that was earlier.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yep. That's how you should do this.
Chili's or Applebee's.
Have you been to either one of the establishments?
I have not.
Okay. So,
I do feel that I'm missing out on the quintessential experience of being a teenager, having not been to either.
That's true.
But I'm going to go with Chili's.
She's going to go with Chili's. I got to be honest, Bryn. She's incorrect. It's Applebee's. However, if you had asked me, I would have thought Applebee's was the OG and Chili's was kind of the one that followed. But Chili's is 76. Applebee's is until the 80s.
how about that?
So Chili's was around before Applebee's, if you can believe
and it didn't help it any.
Unlimited
They didn't learn
chips
from
and
any other
salsa.
mistakes.
I mean, I think Chili's is better than Applebee's. I don't want either, but I think Chili's is better than Applebee's.
But the apps.
the apps, the $2 apps.
Have all that.
Brittany, that's incorrect. The good news is,
That's okay.
is you're up 4-3. It's so Canadian.
You're listening to Who What Wins, an hour of history, games, and trivia from South Carolina Public Radio. I'm Brandon Gray.
And I'm Daniel Thompson. It's 80s week here on the show, and we're having a great time playing with our contestants, Michael and Brittany. And Brittany's ahead coming out of that first game, but Michael has a chance to show off his Gen X cred and make up some ground in our next segment.
That's right. Coming up after this break, we'll look back on some products from the 80s that just didn't quite stand the test of time. That's next here on Who What When.
Welcome back to Who What When, South Carolina Public Radio's hour of history, games, and trivia. I'm Daniel Thompson here with my best buddy, Brandon Gray.
Hello.
We're celebrating the 80s this week with games that are mega bodacious and most triumphant.
No way!
Yes way.
Righteous. We'll get back to those games in just a moment. But first, a quick reminder, we would love for you to be a contestant on this here show. All you got to do is call or text us, 803-470-6347, or send us an email to whowhatwin@scpublicradio.org. You might get to come on, play some gnarly games, and take home the title of the Who What When Champion of the Week and a very special Who What When fanny pack.
Let's go. And today we're playing with our contestants, Michael from Greenville, South Carolina, and Brittany from Toronto, Canada.
Amazing.
Brittany is currently ahead by 1 point, but Michael's luck could turn around in this next game. It's one we call Walter Edgar Tries to Sell You.
It's one of my favorites, Dan. Walter Edgar, I'm sure, as everybody knows, is a historian, Dr. Walter Edgar, host of South Carolina Public Radio's podcast, Walter Edgar's Journal. Wally Edge, as we like to call him, he's back, everybody. He stops by every so often to help us in a way that only he can. And in this game, he's going to describe some very real products from the 80s that didn't quite work out. Brittany, Michael, all you got to do is tell us what those products are named.
Michael's going to go first. Michael, are you ready for Walter Edgar to try to sell you a product from the 80s?
I'm ready. Bring it on, Walter.
All right, Wally, hit me.
Soda for breakfast. Why not? In 1989, Pepsi offered this new soda as your perfect breakfast companion with 25% more caffeine. A, Pepsi Juiced. B, Pepsi AM. C, Pepsi Plus.
Michael.
Brutal.
Yeah, brutal. What are you thinking?
Yikes. Well, didn't buy any of that. Process of elimination, let's go Pepsi AM.
Pepsi AM is his answer, and he is correct.
Oh, well done, Michael.
Pepsi AM, they changed the it was like a yellow logo.
First
and
the sunshine coming up.
That's right. 25% more caffeine.
Why not?
Why not start your day with
We're all going to die someday.
Pepsi Cola? Didn't last, though. Pulled from the shelves pretty
Shocking.
quickly. Brian.
Shocking.
Did not make it, but Michael has tied this thing up. Britt, how you feeling?
I am feeling moderately confident.
I love
for
it.
you.
Yeah,
I feel like that's a step up.
Yeah, when you translate that into American, it's very confident. That's
We
right.
had to bleep out a lot of that.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Also, I would just like to say in advance, I'm sorry for getting so much right.
Sorry for
Sorry.
getting so much right. Canadian cred strong.
Yeah.
All right. Walter Edgar is here to sell you a product, Brittany. Take it away, Walter.
Sick of transporting documents only to have them stolen by another thief in the business sector? Have no fear, as the red smoke and high-pitched screeching sound will stop thieves dead in their tracks. Presenting the all-new A, Purse Protector. B, Briefcase Alarm. C, Satchel Security.
I got to be honest, I don't know why any of these would fail. This sounds amazing.
Okay, I'm going to go with briefcase alarm simply because it is something that actively opens, and I feel like that gives space for an alarm to exist. So, briefcase.
She's going with briefcase alarm. Final answer. Thank you for locking that in. She's correct.
Wow.
She's correct.
Well thought out, I might add. How would an alarm work in a purse? How would it work in a satchel? I like the way you're thinking through it.
Yeah, because it works so much better in a briefcase
Well,
versus. Yeah.
You lock
but
it?
This was a device that I guess businessmen were worried about just getting robbed on the street with their briefcase, and some smoke would start to emit from it and a high screeching noise would happen. Yeah, it didn't work out, but I think you would like one for your all your briefcase needs.
Yes, I would love that. As a big briefcase fan, this would be really big for me.
Yeah. All right, Brittany's back in the lead, 5-4. We're playing Walter Edgar Tries to Sell You. Michael has a chance to tie it up. Walter Edgar's going to sell him on a product that no longer exists. Walter Edgar, take it away.
Move over Google Glasses because reflection technology got here first. Our 1989 head-mounted glasses display with a 1.25-inch screen directly covering the eye of your choice. It'll be a breeze to use and a total game changer. A, the private eye. B, the digital eye. C, the eagle eye.
What do you think of Michael?
Ooh, man. First of all, it's embarrassing that was a product.
Yes,
Probably.
very.
1.5-inch screen, huh? All right.
One and a quarter.
Let me think here. 1.25. Okay, wow.
Let's
All right.
not give him too much credit.
Oh, man. Eagle Eye sounds like some kind of fishing product. Don't feel confident about it, but I'll go with Private Eye.
Private Eye is what he's going with, and he is correct.
Wow.
Private Eye.
Amazing. This feels like a product that they had the name first.
That's right.
They're like, Private Eye, what if we did a thing where the eye, it seems like they worked backwards.
It is something that when Google tried it a few years ago, it was still not where it needed to be.
No.
But the 80s was a disaster. Like, if you go look these up, they are one of a kind for sure. But Michael, you got it right. You and Brittany are in a tie ball game here. It's Walter Tries to Sell You. We're talking about the 1980s brand. It's anybody's game. Brittany, let's see if you can guess what Walter Edgar is trying to sell you right now.
It looks like a cigarette, but does it act like one? No way. Light up the carbon tip in the cigarette lighter and taste burnt tobacco, flavor beads, and nicotine aerosol. But hey, at least there's no smoke. And we're talking about A, the Ziggy, B, the Premier cigarette, C, the no smoke stick.
Man, the Ziggy,
Ziggy?
the Premier cigarette,
Yes.
or the no smoke stick. Brittany, what are you thinking?
I mean, no smoke stick would be a pretty, straightforward name for something like that. But I feel like they were more interested in coming up with fun names for things. So I feel that I should eliminate that one, though it might be a stupid reason. I am going to go with the Premier cigarette.
She's going with the Premier cigarette. And she once again is correct.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, I was just about to say, I feel like it's a poor choice and I'm wrong.
I
But
thought
got it
for
right.
sure
With that thought process of how you got rid of the no smoke stick, I
would
thought
go
you were
with
going
the
to go with the
Ziggy.
Ziggy.
Yeah.
But when Brittany zigs, she's X. You know
That's
what
right.
I mean?
This was an attempt by the Reynolds Tobacco Company to try to capture some of the people leaving cigarettes because of all the cancer and whatnot. And so it was such a disaster that it was pulled from the shelves within months of it being released.
Wow.
But you got to go look these up. They're one of a kind. And Brittany, also one of a kind. She's from Canada, but she's ahead of our Gen X American here. So Michael, there's plenty of time left in the game. You're only one behind. You got a chance to get back on the board right here. It's Walter Edgar Sells You on Who What When, South Carolina Public Radio. Wally Edge, take it away.
Want to make sure your presence is as loud as your style? Then look no further. Featuring shiny and/or neon fabric, removable sleeves, and a stereo built into the seams, this 1980s fashion statement is here to stay. A, the music vest. B, the boombox bomber. Or C, the speaker sleeves.
Working through the logic here. Yikes, I can picture this. Had a boombox, but don't think that's going to... I'm going to go with it. I'm going for it. Let's go with the boombox bomber.
The boombox bomber is his guess, and it's incorrect.
No, Michael.
We're looking for the music vest.
the music vest.
There's sound vests and music vests. A lot of companies made them, including Sony. Speakers actually in the vest, Bran. I've seen these. You would wear these.
I gotta be. The entire time Walter was reading that, I was thinking, can I find one of these on eBay, or is there a business for us to get into now? I think there's something here. Maybe it was
Can you
ahead of its
imagine
time.
everywhere you walking, music playing where everyone else has to listen to it?
I can, because I've been in big cities where just people don't care.
Oh, my goodness.
I love this idea.
Okay, that makes
love
one
it.
of us. Brittany, the next question is yours. Here on Walter Edgar Tries to Sell You, and it starts right now.
Want to watch TV right on your wrist? It's easy. Just pop this on, add a transmitter in your pocket, plug in headphones, and you'll have 1.2 inches of black and white TV glory staring back at you. A, the Sanyo Teleband. B, RCA Mini Vision. C, the Seiko TV Watch.
Okay, I'm going to go with the Mini Vision.
She's going with the Mini Vision, and I've not said this often, but she's incorrect. She's incorrect.
Keeping the game alive for Michael.
That's of
Feeling
course.
the fanny pack slide away from me. I gotta recover.
That's right. The fanny pack's still there for you, Michael. We're looking for the Seiko TV watch. The Seiko TV watch at the time was a disaster because it needed so much plugged in on your person.
It sounds like a lot.
But true story, if you have a working one of those right now on eBay, it's worth thousands of dollars for some strange reason. But the Seiko TV watch is what we're looking for. All right.
And I believe we just found out we do have money in the endowment fund for us to get one of those
wow.
suckers.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
you love to see that.
Interesting.
We are made possible from listeners like you. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Of course. It's there's so many Seiko watches in the fanny pack. You wouldn't believe it. All right. We got Michael's next question. Now, Michael needs to get this question right, or the game is over. This is a chance to tie for Michael. Michael,
Ooh, a lot of pressure. All right.
a lot of pressure here.
The weight of America is on your shoulders.
Walter Edgar's going to sell it to you right now.
German engineering continues to revolutionize our day-to-day lives. Now, you never have to worry about whether or not your feet are clean before entering a house. A, the electric doormat. B, the front door foot spa. Or C, the at-home auto shoe remover. Now, that scares the bejesus out of me.
Whew.
This is such a specific product.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
It sounds like one of those made-for-TV aisle Walmart.
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
Billy Mays is talking about it as we speak. Rest in peace, obviously.
All right. Well, the weight of America is on my shoulders here.
Here we go.
I'm going to go with the spa.
He's going to go with the front door foot spa, and unfortunately, he's incorrect.
Oh, Michael.
Michael, we're looking for the electric doormat.
An awful name.
Terrible
I
name.
think if we could have the front door foot spa, Michael, in your defense, a significantly better name.
A better name. And in a turn of events we didn't see coming, the 90s baby from Canada is going to be victorious here. Michael, you have been a wonderful contestant on Who What When. You don't get the fanny pack, but you do get our hearts because we love you, man. Thanks for coming on the show and playing along with us on Who What When.
Thanks. Good luck, Brittany, and handing it over to the millennials. Go for it.
Michael, I just stay offline for the next couple weeks, okay? It's tough out there.
It's going to be tough, but you'll recover.
Hey, 1980s, so I've got experience. Take care, buddy.
Right,
Thanks, Michael.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
This is Who What When. It's an hour of history, games, and trivia from South Carolina Public Radio. I'm Brandon Gray, and I'm here with my buddy, Daniel Thompson. And Dan, today, traveling back to the 80s.
Most definitely, dude. We're having some fun with pop culture of the era. Our contestant, Brittany from Toronto, Canada, has defeated Michael from Greenville, South Carolina to head into our final segment. We'll see if she'll be our Who What When champion of the week and take home that sweet, sweet fanny pack.
That and so much more is coming up after this break here on Who What When. Welcome back to Who What Wins, South Carolina Public Radio's Hour of History, Games, and Trivia. I'm Brandon Gray.
And I'm Daniel Thompson. We're talking about the 1980s today. And Bran, when I think of the 80s, I think of the movies of John Hughes. Nope, that's wrong. I'm sorry. John Hughes is what I meant to say. Sorry. Let's do that again.
Hey, everyone. Looks like Whittle Danny can't weed his intro.
Oh, boy.
What's happening, Dan? Do you know this guy?
Oh, he better know me. I'm Fad, a.k.a. the starting quarterback, a.k.a. coolest jock in town, a.k.a. the incumbent homecoming king at Dan's high school.
High school? But Dan, you're like 40. What is this guy talking about?
Yeah, Bran, I am like 40 years old, and this is Thad. He's my 80s high school bully. He's following me around basically my whole life. It's just annoying,
So,
really.
I thought you were born in the 80s. There's no way you were in high school in the 80s.
I understand how it's confusing. I went to high school in the 90s. Thad wasn't my bully in the 80s. He's my 80s high school bully. Like how there's bullies in 80s movies like Biff from Back to the Future or Johnny from Karate Kid. So in the 90s, my 80s high school bully would follow me around.
I hate it, but that makes total sense.
Yeah.
Who are the other people? I got so much questions.
Yeah, I've got a lot of questions about why Dan is such a wuss and can't race me down the slopes on the triple black diamond ski run. Let's settle this on the slopes.
Settle on the slopes,
Thad,
Dan.
You can't just come in here like this. We're doing a show. You're talking about triple black diamond. I've never skied in my life. Like, stop. Just stop it, Thad.
Well, I have a show to do. You'll never unseat me as king of the winter ball, especially if you can't even read a simple intro to the C segment of your show.
He knows the segments and the format of the show. He's roasting you, Dan.
All right, Brant, once again, if I don't need it from you,
Okay.
first of all. And Thad, second of all, what can I do to get you to leave?
Well, it just so happens that sports and being incredibly popular aren't the only thing I'm amazing at.
I bet it's quizzing.
I'm also really good at coming up with 80s movie wordplay.
I thought it might be. Yeah.
And if you can answer my questions, maybe I'll let you finish your show.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to shoot it straight with you, Dano. I think we got to do the wordplay. And it's the only way that we're going to get you to win the homecoming king over him. You got to do the thing.
Yeah.
You got to win the game.
You're 100%. Wait a minute. No, I'm not trying to be homecoming king.
You
Black
got to
Diamond,
win the
anything.
homecoming king, Dan.
I just want to get Thad out of here.
80s movie wordplay it is. Take it away, Thad.
Yeah, I thought you'd come around to it. First of all, some ground rules. I'm going to give you the synopsis of a famous 80s movie, but with a slight tweak that is going to change the name of the movie to something that sounds similar but is different. Here's an example. This 1985 ensemble movie is about a group of 5 high school students from different social circles who end up in detention for messing up a line reading. The answer? The breakfast flub. You get it? Flub your line like Dan.
Yeah. We got it. We got it, Thad. Let's do it. I feel like Thad.
Can I play Thad?
You're in.
All right.
Oh, Bran. I love Bran.
Yeah.
I
we
might
all
get
love
homecoming
Brandon.
king.
Thad loves Brandon.
He's
Fingers crossed.
definitely going to be in my court. Anyway, here we go. First one. This 1986 movie is about the title character, played by Matthew Broderick, rizzing his way through the day as he skips school to provide hush money. Ooh. What do you think it is?
Ferris Bueller's Payday Off?
Ferris Bueller's
Payoff.
Payoff.
Yeah.
Ferris Bueller's Payoff.
That is correct.
Yeah.
You're a little smarter than I thought, Danny.
Well, he got
Thanks,
one.
Thad. I
Thad.
feel like that was really patronizing, but I'll take it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next up. This 1985 movie centers on a ragtag group of kids led by Sean Astin as they search for a treasure of Canadian dollars.
What are Canadian dollars? It's the Goonies.
Yeah.
Is it the doubloonies? That would be a pirate thing.
That would be pirate.
The Goonies. I thought Canadian dollars were just called
I thought they were
dollars.
yeah.
I don't.
Thad, I think you've stumped us.
I'm going to go with the Groonies. Final answer.
Well, that's wrong, obviously. Shouldn't be surprised. Canadian dollar called loonies.
The Loonies.
The Loonies.
Lunay, it's French.
There
Shout
you go.
out. Shout out Family Matters.
Let's see if you can get this one.
Shout out.
Sticking in 85, this movie is about Marty and his much older friend Doc Brown as they travel through time to stitch up wounds in the past.
Back to the Suture.
Oh, that's good.
Back to the Suture, Thad. I know you're a terrible human, but that's funny.
Even your worst enemy can be good at something, Dan.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, next up. More 1985. More Michael J. Fox.
Ooh.
This movie is about a teenage Klingon who finds out the men in his family are lycanthropes.
It's Teen Wolf
Yeah.
is the movie. But,
Klingon. What's the only Klingon you know?
Teen Worf.
Teen Worf is correct.
Teen Worf. Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Teen Worf is right.
Teen Worf. Yeah, I knew that.
All
Yeah,
right.
Easy.
Let's see if you could get this one. This 1989 movie featuring two teen slackers who travel through time in a phone booth to roast succulent meats over flame. What's the movie?
Bill and Ted's Barbecue Journey or Excellent Smoke Venture?
I think you're thinking too hard. Grill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Oh, Grill and Ted's.
I got so used to it being at the end of
Yeah.
it. That's on me,
Tripped you
Thad.
up.
You're right there. I'm wrong, Thad.
You're going to love this one then.
All right, cool.
Nobody puts Sam Malone in a corner.
Yeah.
This 1987 film is a timeless love story between Patrick Swayze and Jennifer Grey. But it's sort of the origin story for the bartender from Cheers / the lead from the show Becker.
Dirty Dancing. Absolutely. Dirty
wow.
Dancing. Yeah, Dirty Dancing.
Dirty Dancing is
I
right.
almost said it after you said nobody put Sam Malone in the corner. I was that confident.
you
on
got that
one.
reference.
Yeah, I did get that reference.
Grill was too much, though.
Grill couldn't do it. Couldn't hack it.
Next up, this 1987 vampire movie, starring the Coreys and Kiefer Sutherland, is having issues finding their moored nautical markers.
Boy,
They're moored.
what's the movie?
87 vampire movie
The Coreys
with the Coreys.
With the chorus.
and moored nautical markers.
I got nothing here, Thad. I'm sorry, man.
Interesting. The movie is Lost Boys, which makes it Lost Buoys.
That's funny. That's funnier than you.
Yeah.
I see why you won.
You like him
Brand gets
because
it.
you like him because you're also a bully. It's a common knowledge.
My heart
No,
apart.
Brand's just the coolest kid in school after
Hey,
me.
thanks, Dad.
No problem, Brand. I love you,
Thanks,
dude.
Dad.
Love you, buddy.
Next up, don't get them wet after midnight.
Okay.
In this 1984 film, if you do, these little creatures will multiply and take over a fortified complex in Moscow, Russia.
Oh, Kremlins.
Kremlins is right.
Kremlins.
The movie is Gremlins.
I got it.
It is Kremlins.
It's Kremlin. The Kremlin.
You get it.
I'm not good with wordplay of any sort.
and
but I
Dad's not making fun of you at all about
No,
that.
he's not.
I love Brand.
That's right.
I'm
yeah.
on it. At least I'm honest about it.
I think you might be able to get this one,
I
Brand.
say John Hugh
All right,
one time. and-
Let me try. Let me
Here
try
we
this
go.
one without Dan's help.
Who are you going to call?
Ghostbusters.
In this 1984 film, Star.
Oh, who's flubbing it now?
Oh my God, not now. In this 1984 film starring Bill Murray and Sigourney Weaver, if you have paranormal cleaning needs, you call the.
I think I know it.
Paranormal. Ghost. Dan, you help me out.
Is it Ghost Dustbusters?
It's
Dang
Ghost
it!
Dusters.
Ghost Dusters.
Ghost Dusters.
Ghost Dusters.
My brain just doesn't compute.
It's not how you learn.
We only have 4 more.
Only 4 more?
Only 4 more.
Time flies when you're hanging out with Thad, you know?
Thank
Thad, my guy.
you. Next up. In this 1986 John Carpenter movie, Kurt Russell and the Pork Chop Express have to venture into this famous San Francisco international neighborhood to save his friend's fiancée and Kim Cattrall before the evil Lo Pan carves them little by little.
It's Escape from L.A.
Wrong.
No?
No, that is a great movie, though.
It's a great
I love
movie.
that movie.
It's a great movie.
That has nothing to do with the San Francisco international neighborhood.
Yeah.
L.A. is not in San Francisco.
John Carpenter, who did a lot of horror movies.
Yeah.
Big Trouble in Little China is the movie.
What was the, what is it?
Carving them little by little, which means it's Big Trouble in Whittle China.
Man.
I have not seen it.
Whittle like little Danny.
That's right. Yeah.
Thad.
Yeah.
Thad, up until now, I felt like I was all above board. That felt mean-spirited.
No. It's fine. It's fine. That is who he is. You know what I mean?
Next up, Say Hello to My Little Friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
This 1983 movie starring Al Pacino and Michelle Pfeiffer is about how David Bowie makes his way through the Miami drug trade.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, Scarface. David Bowie makes his way through the. What's a David Bowie song?
Yeah, that's where he has that song about space. Is it-
Space. Scarspace.
The answer is Starface.
Starface.
You know how he paints his face with a star on it?
Yeah.
Bowie's in space also
That's good.
works. Yeah.
All right,
good.
next.
I think we got
I
it.
think we got that one. Yeah. Good
I'll
work.
give it to you.
I'm gonna
You know
give
what?
that one to you.
I'll
too.
give it to you.
Yeah.
In this 1989 movie, Morgan Freeman is an unconventional principal, working to get rid of the gangs and narcotics from a New Jersey school's student body, especially that body's organ that mainly filters its blood.
Do you know this Morgan Freeman movie?
It's Stand and Liver. Is that what it is?
The movie is Lean on Me,
Lean on me.
which means this
Spleen on me.
Spleen on me is correct. Of course, Bran gets me.
Yeah, he gets you.
And here's
get
the
you.
last one. Please help me, Eddie. That's what the main character and Jewish religious scholar from this 1988 half live action, half animated movie asks as a murder in Toontown has been pinned on him, and he wants to avoid Judge Doom's dreaded dip.
Judge Doom's dreaded dip. It's Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Now make it about a Jewish religious scholar.
Who Framed Roger Rabbi?
That is correct, man.
Who Framed Roger Rabbi?
You got the last one right.
Yeah.
Maybe you are cooler than I thought.
Oh, thanks, Dad. I'm always after
right,
your
but
approval.
Who's Homecoming King?
I think it's you, Brad.
Oh, big
Sorry,
surprise.
buddy.
Left
Maybe next
field.
time.
Dan and I split the vote. You got the
That's
other
right.
one.
Yeah,
That's
First time
exactly-
Thad's lost anything in his life. It's unbelievable.
I'm honored to have met you, and I'm honored to now be Homecoming King, Thad. Thanks for
What
joining
if
the show.
it was Stand and Liver, though? This is Who, What, When, an hour of history, games, and trivia on South Carolina Public Radio. I'm Daniel Thompson.
And I'm Brandon Gray. We're talking about the 1980s today. And we've still got our contestant, Brittany, on the line with us, Dan. She won our first 2 rounds this hour and now is heading in to the final round of Who, What, When to become Who, What, When Champion of the Week and potentially, Dan, get a trophy in the form, of course, of the Who, What, When Fanny Pack. Very on brand for today's 80s episode.
To do that, she's going to have to get through our final game today. It's one we call History or His Story, and this is a special 80s TV edition of the game.
That's right. Here's how it's going to work. Brittany, listen up. Dan will tell you about 3 forgotten TV shows from the 80s. 2 of them, 100% real. 1 of them, 100% fake. Completely made up by my boy Dan. It is his story. You will have a chance to ask questions after each one, chat a little bit with me because I'm a little bit of an expert in the field of history, his story. And then ultimately you're going to have to figure out which of the TV shows does not exist. If you get it right, you win.
That's exactly right, Bran. That's what we call History or His Story. Brittany and Bran, are you guys ready to play?
I'm ready.
All right, these are going to be in chronological order. Your first TV show is called Super Train.
Super Train.
Great. You working on that still? Or is
I'm
that,
working
is
on
that,
it. No, I
is
think
that
that's
locked?
final.
Okay, that's locked. Good. In 1979, 1980, it was a tough time for the National Broadcasting Company, also known as NBC. In 1980, the U.S. boycotted the Olympic Games, and so NBC's right to televise them were useless. They also spent more money on a TV show than any network in history, and they had to eat all the costs. Let me introduce you to Super Train.
Super Train.
The premise of the show is there's a nuclear-powered bullet train equipped with the amenities of a cruise ship. think Love Boat meets Snowpiercer. Swimming pools, shopping centers, gyms, libraries, medical centers, discotheques.
Yeah.
They're all running on a broad gauge track. Super Train reaches speeds up to 250 miles an hour, and you'd think that the plots would focus on this massive train in a fun action-adventure way. You'd be wrong. Instead, they were more concerned with passengers' social lives, featuring new guest stars every single week. Super Train was the most expensive U.S. TV show ever made at the time. They built 3 separate train sets, costing $10 million. The full-size train was constructed in 2 stories, 60 feet long, 25 feet wide, a mid-size version for long shots, and there was a baby Super Train that was a 1/4-inch scale, filmed going through miniature towns and landscapes on a 3,000-foot track.
Thomas the Train style.
The show was a unmitigated disaster. Its 2-hour premiere didn't even crack the top 15 shows on broadcast TV that week. NBC sold episodes to the BBC for $25K an hour, but after the premiere and subsequent nosedive of the show, the BBC never aired a single second of it. The financial downfall of the show, combined with the Olympics boycott, almost bankrupted NBC. Only 9 episodes of Supertrain were ever produced, and TV Guide lists it as one of the 50 worst TV shows of all time. That's the end of story number 1. Brand, what are you thinking?
I love it. I want to get that out of the way. I think it's fantastic. I think it's a shame that only 9 episodes were made. My gut says, The Love Boat was a smash hit. We love The Love Boat.
We love The Love Boat.
This sounds like, as you mentioned, Dan, Love Boat on track. And I think that would have been an absolute A-OK green light from NBC at the time if it was pitched as that. So I could see this being true. Brittany, what are your thoughts on this one? Does this sound like something that could be true to you?
Yeah, it does. Also, there's so much detail about the money and the fact that, they would have built this tiny... I feel like building things into tiny scale was a thing back then.
I mean, Steven Spielberg, he made it pretty popular in the 70s, but You're right, it was probably not as well known as it is now or utilized. Okay, are we ready for story number 2?
I'm ready.
All right, let me introduce you to Automan.
Automan.
I hope that's locked because I love it. In 1982, Disney released a sci-fi adventure film called Tron.
Yes.
You may have heard of it. A computer programmer is transported inside the software world of a mainframe computer where he interacts with programs having to play a deadly game in order to attempt escape. At the time, this was Disney's highest-grossing live-action film of all time. Although it wasn't a roaring success, Tron opened the door to mainstream science fiction. And a year later, ABC took their stab at creating a show with similar themes. It did not go well. Automan was the name of the show. Its police officer and computer programmer, Walter Nebeker, has created a new program for fighting crime with artificial intelligence.
Ooh.
This program generates a hologram that is able to leave the computer at night to help fight crime. He goes by Otto J. Man, or as we know him, Automan. And no one knows that he's really a program aside from Walter and his friend Roxanne. Walter fights crime with Automan, the hologram, and they can merge and become one being, which increases Walter's skills and makes him invulnerable.
Heck yeah, man.
Automan and Walter have a sidekick called Cursor. Cursor's a floating, shifting icon that can draw physical objects that come to life when needed. It's like
inspiration for Clippy.
And yeah, cars, airplanes, helicopters, you name it. The reception for Automan was expectedly terrible. The show lasted for 12 episodes while never cracking the top 50 shows on television. The technology just didn't allow for the scope that the show was trying to achieve. Automan was supposed to be basically a floating head with a holographic body, but the torso was achieved by using a costume with reflective fabric designed by 3M and polished plates. ABC canceled Automan after 12 episodes, never showing the 13th episode that has been fully produced. That is the end of story number 2. Brando, what you think?
Well, I want to get ahead of it and ask for that 13th episode to be released, please. And thank you. We demand it.
Yeah.
This show sounds perfect. As somebody who loves sci-fi, the only thing I love more than it is bad sci-fi. This sounds wonderful. And I do know, like, network TV has a way of trying to grab onto trends. A lot of hit or miss there. And so I could absolutely see ABC being like, oh, Tron, what if we do something similar to that? It tracks for the history of network TV. This one makes sense to me. What about you, Brittany? What are you thinking with this one? Any questions?
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I think it makes a ton of sense. It is the rule of one musical, 8 million musicals that nobody wants to watch. So I think you're onto something with the fact that with the success of Tron, it would make sense for them to pivot and try to make something adjacent that could be a success.
All right. Feeling pretty good so far?
I feel great.
All right. Are you ready for story number 3?
I'm ready.
I love it. Story number 3 is called The Whiz Kid.
Whiz Kid!
Starts right now. CBS, that was your best one. I'm sorry.
Really? You think so? I thought it was my worst.
I thought the Whiz Kid was a hit.
Okay,
That's right.
good.
The Whiz Kid. CBS had a ton of TV success in the 1970s and 80s. Shows like Murder, She Wrote, MASH, Magnum P.I., Newhart were all huge successes. One area where CBS struggled and still does is grabbing younger viewers as they skewed the oldest of the three major networks in overall viewing. They tried to change their course with the Whiz Kid, and specifically the company that the Parker family works for called Whiz Tech. The Parker family lives in Washington, D.C. Rob Parker starts a tech company called Whiz Tech Robotronics. The government is using Whiz Tech to help work on artificial intelligence, but little do they know, Rob Parker has already mastered it in his creation of Andy Parker. Andy, A-N-D-I, stands for Artificial Neo Descendant Identity.
Nice.
Andy. Andy's a robot that looks like a 7-year-old boy. After successfully creating Andy, Rob takes him home to live in a family environment with his wife and 2 children, which he passes him off as an orphan that they've adopted. The Parkers have always struggled to keep Andy's identity a secret, made more difficult by the Parkers' neighbors as well as Andy's desire to learn human behavior through constant repetition. The show was an unmitigated disaster as well. Lasting 13 episodes, it premiered as a top 3 show for the evening and the highest CBS show of the night. After the first episode, viewers never returned, and The Whiz Kid found itself out of the top 100 weekly shows for the remainder of its run. Some blame the fact that Andy the robot was played by a real human actor named Jerry Supiran, who, while modulating his voice to sound like a robot, was still only a child and not capable of sustaining the performance. There was also question as to what would happen as the actor continued to age as he tried to play the same robot. Lastly, the inconsistency of what Andy the robot could do led to problems. In the first 6 episodes alone, Andy showcased superhuman speed and strength because he was running on atomic power, elongated his neck to reach a door's peephole, shrunk his size to become as small as a doll, channeled electricity to jumpstart the family car. While the show was canceled after 13 episodes, Sci-Fi Channel picked it up in 2013 and ran its entire season for 2 years. That is the end of story number 3.
So Sci-Fi didn't make new episodes, though.
No, they just picked it up to run.
I was really excited. I got to be honest, what sounds like they thought were bugs, such as this kid's going to grow out of this, I see as features.
You're all in on all of these shows.
Let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens. This sounds fantastic. I love Whiz Kid. I love what he can do. It sounds very diverse in his abilities to shrink, to have long neck, etc.
To have long neck, to jumpstart car.
I love this idea. I'm going to have a tough one trying to figure out which one of these is a lie. Brittany, are you in the same boat as me?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, the one thing I will say that's piquing some lie detector in me is the fact that the Whiz Kid re-aired in 2013. See, I am a sci-fi lover.
Oh, boy.
I have watched a lot of sci-fi. I love when old shows are re-aired. I feel like there's a chance I would have heard of it, and I haven't. So that's piquing some little alarm bells for me. Also, I don't know everything. We've established that. I'm just a 90s baby with a limited knowledge. So I'm not sure.
All right, Brittany, it sounds like you're leaning in one direction, but before you make your guess, let me recap these shows again in chronological order. They are Super Train, about a nuclear-powered bullet train. Automan, about a computer program that comes into the real world, and Whiz Kid, about a boy robot. These are 3 forgotten TV shows from the 80s, but only 2 of them are real. The other one I made up. Brittany, take a second to talk through this with Bran, and then I need you to take a guess at which one of these is my lie.
I love your thought process here with Whiz Kid. It makes as much sense as any. My gut is going with Super Train only because of the money behind it. I don't think that NBC, in the midst of a financial crisis, would greenlight a show that was costing $10 million because of 3 train sets. That seems like a lot. Listen, is network TV known for throwing money around that they shouldn't? Sure, possibly. But because of the Olympic cancellation and having some financial troubles already, I think this would have been a tough show to greenlight. So my gut is saying Super Train, but I don't want to talk you out of Whiz Kid because I think that could definitely be the case as well.
Okay, so I like your rationale here. However,
Okay.
I'm gonna play the devil's advocate.
All right, play devil.
So, you have the success of things like Murder on the Orient Express. You've got that. You've got The Love Boat. You've got all of these sort of like isolation ideas in television. If everything is failing and you're going down, somebody says, I know exactly what you can do. It's gonna save you. It's a guaranteed success. Look at this. It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
Throw what you have at it. And we're going to fix this situation. We're going to blind everybody with this amazing new show. I could see how you could convince somebody to make it happen.
Yeah.
This is good stuff.
And Automan. Is that what it's
Yeah, Automan.
Yeah.
Auto J Man.
I think that you and I are in agreement that Automan is for sure.
Oh, it's real. Yeah. It's the name, Auto Man.
Auto J Man.
Auto J Man.
Yeah, so for me, it's a toss-up between the Super Train and the Whiz Kid.
It's your fanny pack to lose, Britt. So Brand can only help you here. At the end of the day, you're going to have to choose and live with your decision. It's your fanny pack or not. And I'm gonna. It's that time. I'm gonna have to ask for an answer.
Okay, I'm gonna go with the Whiz Kid. Sorry, Bran.
It's okay.
I have to go with my gut.
She's going with the Whiz Kid.
It's okay. We'll see how that goes for you.
Okay. She's going with the Whiz Kid. Let's get Auto Man out of the way. Auto J Man, real show. Auto
Obviously.
Man, a real show, and it has to be. I mean, we need the 13th episode.
We need
He's
it.
a hologram.
Release it now.
Release the 13th episode.
Yes.
Immediately. All right.
Maybe they'll drop it on Max.
Let's get down to it. Is Brittany getting a fanny pack sent home to Toronto? We're gonna find out right now.
So bad.
Super Train is a real television show.
Yeah!
Which means the Whiz Kid isn't, and Brittany wins.
Amazing. Brittany, congratulations. You did it.
Thank you so much. I'm shocked.
For those of you 80s people who are really into 80s TV, there was a show called Whiz Kids about a bunch of teenagers who solve crime. That's a very different thing than this, which is all made up by me.
Okay.
Very different
thing.
thing.
I see what you did
and
there.
I didn't do that on purpose. I created this, and then I looked it up, and I was like, oh, no, there was a show called Whiz Kids. But Brittany saw through it.
Amazing.
She got it right. Brittany, a fanny pack's coming your way. Just tell us, if you could, put it into words how excited you are.
Oh, I don't know that I can put it into words. I mean, I've always wanted one of your fanny packs.
Yep.
And this is like the coolest thing. I've always been terrible at trivia. I don't know how I won. It must have been because I had you guys on my side.
Yeah.
And I'm overwhelmed with excitement.
You're the best, Brittany. Thanks for playing Who What When this week on South Carolina Public Radio, and enjoy that fanny pack.
Thank you so much.
And that'll do it for this 80s episode of Who What When. Thanks to our contestants, Brittany and Michael, for playing with us today. And congratulations again to Brittany from Toronto for coming out on top as our Who What When Champion of the Week.
Our producer is A.T. Shire. Our executive producer for now is Sean Birch, who still likes to ask the question, where's the beef?
This show's a production of South Carolina Public Radio and is made possible in part by listener contributions to the ETV Endowment of South Carolina.
If you want to be a contestant on Who What When, call or text us 803-470-6347 or send us an email to whowhatwhen@scpublicradio.org.
You can find out more about the show and listen to this episode again at our website, southcarolinapublicradio.org/whowhatwhen.
You can also subscribe to Who What When wherever you listen to podcasts and listen through your smart speaker by asking it to play Who What When.
I'm Daniel Thompson.
And I'm Brandon Gray. Join us next week for more history, games, and trivia right here on Who What When.